Okay, so we can have a look. We can have a look here. So CK. I mean, I'm not. I feel like I'm not bad at CK, but it's arguably one of Rapha's better maps, alongside like Vale and DM6. So he's picked DM6. Awoken, I wanted to try something different. I mean, Molten sometimes, like, well, bigger maps for me. He did remove Ruins. I think it's kind of common. I'm pretty good here. And then yeah, so picked Awoken, did something different this time. Something that I felt like at least I'm gonna get a matchup. Okay, he's definitely gonna pick this, or like I'm either gonna get something that I want, and I can't really fuck this up here. Map the map two was interesting because he removed Slash. I do play it quite a lot, and then I had an opportunity to pick like Nyx or Anarchy. I could actually have potentially picked Nyx because I did have like I was on my server, so it means that like sometimes you can connect a lot and it can be quite good. But Anarchy's super stable, and why he picked Clutch, I don't think is necessarily bad, especially with like when you have higher ping. Sometimes you're just like connecting more rails, but then a lot of the time, which we see later on in this game, like some of these LG battles, fucking hell, I just like he just felt like he didn't hit me very much, and it's not because of a testament of his LG. It's because of the fact that it's just hard to fucking hit when there's like this amount of ping difference at times. And I ban Vale. He bans Molten. Tape is the last map. This was a bit interesting for me because if I don't ban Doom, he's played a fuck ton of Doom. Um, and then also I'm on hyping on the last map where sometimes he can just fucking walk right through me. So I wanted to give this a try. And then I also could have picked Visor. Visor not necessarily bad, but Eisen I've actually like played quite a few times and I've tested it, and it actually feels alright because the turret, which we'll see later, like if you hit the rail and you deny the armor and there's a turret in the middle of the map, it's pretty fucking rough actually. Like in this particular matchup, it's actually like quite strong. Um, Now I'm not gonna start it too much because otherwise we'll be here till like 6 o'clock. So I'm going to just kind of like play it, maybe talk about some moments specifically, and just go do it like that. So what was the freeze frame? I missed it. Now the thing, what was really interesting is like, how can I say, Rafa, what he does really nicely is like there are some moments where he understands. What's up, Dan? And thank you, mate. Um, what was I gonna say? What's really nice about Rafa, what he does, is he understands when he needs to hit a certain damage, moving at a particular position. There's one moment he comes from LG ammo box next to Mega, and he crouch slides across, hits a rail, but then I'm kind of like stuck at tribal. But now he has Mega position, and I just don't have enough stack to contest. He understands moments like that very clearly. I think, where he can like buy himself or take like what I would call an optimized risk. He did kind of get away with 15 HP there, but sometimes it can happen. So we'll start to see the beginning of what he starts to just connect fucking lots. Notice that like as soon as I have orb at 100, he never commits too far from this top mid position because he knows he doesn't want to overcommit while sacrificing his armor. He's now going for it. I have rail. Almost get something good there. Would have been really nice if I did hit an exit rail, but doesn't matter too much. Okay. Don't have the weapon to handle it, but that's something that just can happen. And he's just made like he's just followed up well there. There's not too much I can do. Don't have to think too much about it. I spawned at heavy to try to get something away with it there. Now I can potentially set up early. So again, look, all these small moments, like for example here. So now I'm starting to think to myself, okay, I need to buy myself some control. But then, of course, as I've gone for the mega, he's hit. It's like a relatively hard rail to hit because he's moving quickly. There's not much for him to see. But this rail now basically wins him the mega. But if he doesn't do that, then potentially I can like continue on. So it's one of those things where I'm taking a risk, but it's just not working out for me. Now again, he makes like a right guess. I did fuck up the rocket jump a little bit there. I didn't do it as quick as you need to, so I get caught. He has full control. Happens again. I lose the orb as well. Obviously, not really looking too fucking great. There, I tried to use the health bubbles to release, try to like trade some level of efficiency because he's got super stack at the moment. I don't have orb anymore. I had to lose it in mid. Okay, now we've finally done some damage. Let's have a look if we can do anything. Now I understand that like the heavy will spawn, and so I'm gonna try to. He's already got such a big lead. I need to do fucking something to take the momentum back. And so now I'm either gonna fuck it up, which unfortunately I die. But the thing is, like, I need to get the momentum back because if he just keeps doing what he's doing, I'm gonna lose. So I kind of need to take some action. Timu, Timu, thank you for the prime, mate. Oshmeister, thank you, mate. Okay. And what's up, Wolfie? Thank you, dude. Okay. So we finally get the fucking kill. Now we can start doing something. Grail him off the spawn. Don't want to risk it too much. He actually almost still fucking kills me. And again, now all I need to do is start to like it is 6 frags, but we're almost at the 4 minute mark, and I need to start getting these kills back. Start building them back now rather than later because if I build them towards the end of the game and take my time, then basically he knows that like my decision making for being patient or waiting between items becomes more obvious. So if I want to start making the comeback where I have more flexibility in my decision making, it needs to happen now rather than later. And this is what I was talking about because he does a really good job by this. So I think he takes a bit of a risk there. I don't anticipate him to do a move like this, but he understands that even if I use LG here, he's still moving so quick that he's basically saying, even if you have LG out, I'm going to go for a rail and I'm still going to push myself all the way across. But I try to think, I think to myself, I've got more time than I do. So I spam the rocket, he hits the rail, and now look what happens. Now he's got more stack than I do in a position that, like, if I still stick around too much, I'll die. I don't have orb, so he's actually won the mega because of this one attack. So again, what he understands that I'm wanting to come back into the game as quick as I can, and so by that token, he can start to assume the type of the decisions that I'm going to make. So he makes the play like this, and it works out. So it's actually quite well played by him. Now he switches to shotgun. It's a weapon that like he doesn't need to do anything too crazy. He just needs to soften me up where I have no stack. I can't even fight. So again, really good weapon selection by him. It doesn't use rail. Doesn't try to finish. He's just trying to get me so low that I'll fucking just fall over. Thanks, Dave. Like I said, a lot of moments didn't necessarily work out, but if you think about what happened in each sequence and how those moments created, sometimes you just got to kind of cut your losses. And not think too much about it, because for me, when I'm looking back at this, and even as it's happening, I'm like, okay, he hits the fucking rail. This happens. I misanticipate this. It's a bit easier to say, well, it just didn't work out for me that way, instead of being like, um, how do I say, getting too disjointed with myself and saying that I fucked it up. Whereas like I can understand through rationality why I made certain decisions and how to move forward with it. So yeah, I thought he played pretty well too. Okay, so now he doesn't have rail. So now what does Rapha do with no rail? Look, this is really nice by him because I love that. Like even though he doesn't have control, he doesn't have the rail, but yet he's still fucking pushing. And this is really critical because he's basically trying to say, how can I create a moment that I can't anticipate where he can trade damage for nothing and potentially win the next item? Yeah, well, 80 fucking damage. Now this triggers a message in him which says, I'm gonna go um, contest for this item, but I make a really good play here because it's the way in which he attacked. It's the fact that he falls on the left side, and I have like all this room to dodge, and I just absolutely destroy him with the LG. And I've also picked up the heavy there. In fact, actually, if I didn't pick up the heavy, let's have a look. I think yeah, I'd be dead. Would I be dead? I'm pretty sure I'd be dead then. But it was going to spawn during that fight regardless. I had a nice 100 rocket here, orb to just have position on the on the heavy. I would like to commit to killing him at LG, but there's a problem because if I commit there and I don't kill him, I fuck up the momentum. So I need to just make sure that I need to win this heavy basically to make sure that I have control. Again, bit of a push. I've done like 110 damage there. Just try to follow up. Again, look what I love what Rapha does here because he understands that I'm trying to go for the rail. He fires a rocket which offsets my rail. He gets away for free. So again, very small details that he's like creating space for himself, even that little moment. But more specifically, it's like the timing associated with the firing of the shots, which is really quite cool. Okay, this is where it gets a bit wild. And I fired a shotgun there, which did like 20 damage. He had 10 HP, and the rocket did 20 damage, but he picked up the health bubble. So, I don't know. Use rockets there. Maybe I still die. I don't know. It's hard to say. Now I kind of need to make a push because I'm kind of fucked. Now I really need to start making a comeback in this map, and I need to steal momentum quickly because if he gets both items and sits at T, it's going to be very hard for me to win the game. Again, now look what Raph is doing. He's got his 5 frag lead and he doesn't overcommit now. Now he's starting to change his playstyle where he sits at a distance, does as much damage as he possibly can. Uh, you've often played well against Rapha in the past. Is there something about your game style that causes problems for him? Or is some insight into your game style that maybe others don't? I think both him and I are focused on the rotation. And I know a lot of players are, but I don't want to give away too much, but there's like, how can I say? It's more specifically about how I do damage. And it's through the way that I'm doing the damage specifically, which is making it kind of tough for him. Plus, also a combination of like all ins that I seemingly am actually very good at because I understand that like if there's a moment that I need to hit the clutch shot, my brain maybe compared to other people potentially is able to really like hone it in and say I need to fucking hit the shot, and generally I do because I'm super focused on that moment, and so my brain is looking for it. But then oftentimes you'll see like maybe we'll play a game and then those all-ins don't work, and suddenly it becomes a problem. So it's like it's a combination of those. Thank you, Pork. I like my little my whatever the fuck this is called. Gravy. Similar idea too. Try to soften him up. Now the game is not still over, but I can't remember actually what happens next. Pretty unlucky. I don't understand how that rocket doesn't kill him. Let's have a look. This rocket does 75. It's like a direct. Anyway, there are so many moments in this game which are like, even when he kills me at fucking at the health bubble at rockets, where it's a bit, I don't know. If I'm a lower ping, does the shotgun really do 20 damage? Maybe. I think what's actually nice about this hippie, and I'd recommend this for anybody who's like watching or playing too. I think that the thing is, I wasn't necessarily like super calm while playing, but I think the reason why it looks calm is because I understood with relation to how much time there was in the game or how the game was going, I understood what decisions I needed to make. And so whether those decisions worked out or not is not really, it's not kind of up to me. It's more of a case of just, it's kind of what you have to do. Otherwise, you just fucking lose. So, and how can I say? Obviously, I want those decisions to work out. So there is like a sense of nerves, but I'm still, how can I say? I understand what needs to be done, so I'm just following through with that. And then if it works out or not, well, great. No, serious. I'm on like much higher now. I'm on like like 110 1600 DPI. Oh, sorry, 1.1, and it's like 23 centimeters. I've been finding it really good because oops, I've been finding it really good because now the movement really opens up, and you can kind of play because I see this is why I learned from my game with Razy or already because when I played versus him and the game was so low scoring, and then also moments where he's playing like quite defensive on a map like Molten, where oh yeah, and also to be honest, serious, there's also things that we had talked about because like lately when I've been playing, I've just been looking at certain things and realizing like that where I talked about that sequencing thing, and I was like, oh, how about that? And yeah, kind of thought about that a little bit more. Um, what did I want to say? Ah, fuck it, I can't remember. But yeah, it's been good. So this match is interesting because Clutch versus Anarchy. I mean, he's got the stack. He has a damage reduction, but Anarchy is something very special because when we're fighting, especially with regards to LG, um, how can I say, he is taking reduced damage, but you are really hitting him a lot. And I think this is even really clear in this situation. It's really interesting because look at this moment. He hits a rail there, but I pick up the health bubble after the rail. I guess that's the only way I possibly could. Now I'm like 100. No, I'm slightly overstacked on the armor. No, hang on, I'm 100 armor. Okay, Dave, nice professional. I'm 100. He does have more stack. No, we're similar stack, but he does have damage reduction. But I have like such a positional advantage And he does get to here quick, but the thing is, like, I'm fucking Anarchy, and I just injected, like, I think this is a moment that he saw red, he hit the damage, and just thought, I'm just gonna follow through. But it just didn't work out. Um, Following on with the whole clutch pick, the clutch pick has it's very similar to like a scale bearer, where if you're playing very defensive, it does create some moments which are just like really hard to get around as Anarchy. And we'll actually see that later. There's one moment where he's like camping at Rocket, but then we see it again because I'm playing Anarchy. Like the Rocket hits me in a way which then bounces me actually in a safe position. Whereas any other champion, you get fucking smashed there. Um, so again, I think that's why sometimes Clutch does have the stack and he's got the damage reduction and stuff. But in the fighting, fuck, it's like it's pretty tough. I think, um, because you have so much control when you get balanced or when you're fighting. You're just like you have so much more freedom of momentum of your freedom, control over your speed. I appreciate that, Eveza. It's how can I say? I love. I mean, I want to say it and I don't want to say it. And how can I say? I might say it later. But I think in terms of like my skill as a player, I might not necessarily be the flashiest, but actually, I mean, if I don't say so, I do say so myself. I'm quite good, very good at understanding like specifically the patterns and looking at what's kind of happening there. And turns out, if you understand the patterns well enough, fuck, you can actually do all right. I feel like Clutch is too server dependent. If you're not hitting it really well, he's hard. That's also very true. And I think Raph has even said that in the past as well. That's it, Gravy, because when they're sitting at a corner with shield and rockets, it already is tough. Was that from me, Surfer? I'm not sure, but otherwise, thank you, mate. Yeah, I'm in England now. I actually quite enjoy living here. Funny enough, Mad Brew, he may even be better on land. I want to say 4 damage notice. I think it's I don't even know actually. I feel like it's 33% reduction, which means I think it does 4 per tick. I think serious. If I spoke Polish, I probably would have enjoyed Poland more, but it's just something that I just didn't really want to invest into. Oh fuck yeah, I did. I won't rag too hard on English food, but they will give you a sandwich. You know what I mean? And a well cooked sandwich. Oh, okay. What's up, Notice? I think Knight. I think what happened is I think which also can sometimes happen in the pick and bans, because what happened was I won the coin toss because we played two NA servers. I had the opportunity to ban Athena. Then he bans Slash on DM6. So what he's essentially said is like when you're doing pick and bans, sometimes you're gonna either give a guy a really good champ or you're gonna cut your losses and play a matchup. So for example, on the last map where I'm picking like Nyx versus Aizen, it's not necessarily a conventional pick, but what I had in the options remaining with respect to what had been picked on the previous maps, that was for me what I perceived to be the most optimal. So for example, like if I didn't ban Doom, maybe he would have picked it. Maybe we would have picked Doom versus Visor or something. Um, but how can I say? But I went, no, Doom is like one of Rapha's best champs. And then I'm going to like pick after the fact. Okay, after the fact is he's picked Nyx. Okay, what do I have my best options against that? Because sometimes, how can I say? I feel like what he did there was he banned Slash because maybe he thought that that would be the best opportunity for me. Um, but then how can I say? Um, and then with respect to what I eventually did pick, he said, sometimes it's very hard to pick Nyx against an Anarchy, even though it is winnable. And he said, oh, you know what? I think there's an opportunity here. That's why you went for it. At least my interpretation. Little grog. Okay, there's actually a really cool moment that I wish they included in the highlights. I'll show you in a second. Okay, no, still not even yet. But now there's a really interesting moment. So again, the game is about momentum or understanding where we're kind of at. So for example, off spawn, if at the start of the game, Clutch actually has a fucking huge advantage because he has like how can I say, he's got shield, he's got more stack, and he can get to positions really fucking quick. Anarchy's got an inject, and maybe he can get an LG. I don't know. But then all of a sudden, when I get a kill and I've got momentum and I've got weapons, now Anarchy's in a really good spot. This is the moment that I was talking about, where where he's sitting here, but actually the rocket kind of puts me in a safe position where suddenly he has to kind of be a bit more patient. The second rocket doesn't quite connect. Okay, gets the rail here. But now we're at a really interesting spot. He's picked up the heavy, but now I'm on the side of the map with the weapons and his ability is down. So I know that I've kind of got a bit of a window here to attack him. Notice that he positions himself in the middle of the map. If he traps him to the outskirts, he's going to stuck. Fortunately, misses the rocket jump. Okay, I think this rocket jump that I do is quite nice. Get to this position fast enough, doesn't quite realize it, boom, now it's 5-3. Now here, how can I say, just keep the momentum up. I have all the weapons, I've got the stack. Just hold this position. It's hard for him to hit air rockets here against an Anarchy. Do as much damage as I can, force the ability. Now again, okay, I've got only got a minute left. This game is still losable, but now I'm like playing my percentages. In a rail trade where we're doing this, I'd say it's better for me because my hitbox is smaller. I've got more of an opportunity to like side sway. So I could potentially just straight up run, but it does give me an opportunity to lose. So I do just cut my losses and say this is an opportunity where I can do damage here, where it's going to be favorable for me. Get the stack. Notice he's there, and then it's kind of GG from that point. Maybe is it half? I swear it's 33%. Yeah, true that, Dave, actually. Alright, guys, I'm gonna actually quickly go to the bathroom just for a second. I'll leave the highlights going, and I'll be back. I'll be back in just a second. Alright. So, last map. Oh, it's way too low now.
As Rapha now kicking things off of his perspective,
Okay.
taking down the turret and the mega.
I think the thing with the turret in this one is like, don't be don't be modest.
LG damage already, but the return rail from Zen is going to
Don't
make
be
it.
modest. Don't be cheap with your turret usage. Because especially now that it despawns after a minute, you really have to be like, put the turret somewhere, rotate around the map, add pressure. The other turret, keep playing this like that's how you add pressure through that character.
Taking a leap out Psychics, but considering how well Psychics were.
Uh, Dark Entity, I think you could potentially use it, but I think I'd really play with sensitivity cap. It depends. I personally don't use Axel because I feel like it can be a bit hard to kind of constantly adjust to fluctuating sensitivity. But if you find you're a person who flows with that very well, sometimes it can be very effective. And in some moments, like Axel can really create opportunities for you, but then in other moments it can also decrease your consistency because you can have weird moments where you're trying to move your mouse, you can't move it fast enough, and then moving too quickly. So always comes with pros and cons. All right, getting back to this game, a large part of the Eisen pick as well is like if I do get the start, which I do get, sometimes it also gives me a lot of space um, to just keep the pressure up. Because again, now that I've got the weapons, um, and I've got the stack and I'm denying the armors, there's very little you can do really. And the other thing too is like, I'm really following through with a lot of damage, which is really good. Basically, every time when I'm hitting opening damage, I'm just following through for the kill. So not only is it making the score higher, but it's just me just plowing through the map. I think consistency wise, I wouldn't pick a low sense for Quake. As much as it helps you in certain scenarios, generally medium to high, I would suggest. It's also very taxing to play on low sends for a long time. Um, I don't know. I just generally think high is better anyway. Yeah, I think it's still in there, Burbike. I think it does despawn after a minute. At least I think it does. Okay, 6 frag lead. Just don't do anything dumb. Notice how still always applying pressure. I actually, I really like this by what Rapha did, and I'll show you guys just really quickly. Even a little bit on DM6, people often talk about like Rapha spamming a lot and doing a lot of, well, just spamming a lot and shooting around the map. This rocket specifically disrupts the movement where I missed the jump, and because I missed the jump, he gets the kill. But then you think to yourself, okay, how was the frag created? The frag was created because as I was leaving, let's have a look. Fire the rocket here. I'm exiting. Then he fires this rocket, which just offsets my jump, which means I don't quite make it, and then I die. So then you think to yourself, okay, when I'm playing versus him, am I anticipating him to shoot spam rockets like this? Or, how can I say? Because the other thing I can also do is when this rocket happens, is to already be anticipating that there's something like this could happen. Because I stammer. Instead of me just like auto hopping and auto jumping, my brain is trying to jump when I think it's going to happen. It happens quicker than I expect. I miss the jump. I walk for a second. Boom, walk for a second, miss the jump. I'm too late, dead. So it's like trying to find the solution with regards to this scenario. Are you more aware? Are you more aware of spam? If there's spam coming, do you anticipate it? You know, um, I think don't try to. I think sometimes Quake happens too quickly. Be aware of this moment that it can happen, but then don't over obsess about it because oftentimes something like this doesn't happen that frequently. But it's being aware that I mean he fucking created the frag this way, and actually now, um, purely from that one bit of spam. Yo, she is Russian and she is IPA. Mm. Small detail too with regards to timing. Rapha keeps applying pressure, but then because he's already coming, firing spam. How can I say? Just trying to keep him at bay so he doesn't just like keep his momentum. He's railable here, which is kind of a bit tragic. But I do hit my one rail, which is important. Because now instead of him having, let's have a look, him having 37 and 100 armor, and he's going to collect these 2 health bubbles, oh, well, one, now he can't retake mid position. Well, he shouldn't be able to. And because he tries to, he falls down. So again, I think sometimes like I don't want to give away too much, but sometimes you have to be careful with how players are playing because they'll try. The most I'll say is they'll just maximize the scenarios. Again, still kind of similar idea too. He's pretty low here even before 76 and 50, and I just got the mega. I don't have to do too much, but I do have to just like soften him up. If I soften him, it forces basically me to get this next mega um, relatively safely because for him to get enough stack, look what he's having to do. And I'm still firing fucking rockets in his direction, basically saying like, if you come to mid, I'm still gonna be here. So now he's being a bit safer. Now I've got the mega safely. So instead of him being in position and doing damage, I've actually managed to get the item and get to where I need to go. Okay, won the second item. Turret was there, so that's like the turret basically bought me that. Okay, now similar position. I've got like somewhat top mid, or I did. Fighting for the next mega. Don't have to overcommit necessarily. The heavy is going to spawn like shortly after, so now it's a question of who's going to get to position in time. I realize he's blowing invis. Now I'm trying to see. Now what he's trying to do is he's trying to like cut me out of the map. He's trying to like get all the small arm as well, also take the heavy. So that's why I'm sticking around. But now doesn't add too much of an effect. But even me being there has now separated the item times by 15 seconds. Potentially, this means later on that if he had just gotten the heavy 10 seconds after the mega and he maintains control, it's very hard for me to break that because he's just gonna like um, go one after another. Whereas potentially maybe it does buy me more time. We'll see. Okay, now I've got. He did have both items. ZSX makes a comment later. Lol, the freeze frame. ZSX makes a comment later about Rapha's rail percentage, but I'll just show you something. So he's using HMG, which is okay. He does jump from this position. First rail is relatively easy for me to hit. It's like a falling target. Sure, why not? He's trying to finish the turret. I'm still just like, again, there's no influence of the HMG on me. He's focusing on the turret. So then again, it gives me a relatively easy second shot because I can just go, I can see where he is and I can go back. Again, now he decides to switch to rail, which is okay. But the problem is like, I'm the one who's in, I'm the one who's behind the pillar, so I've got the binary choice to say, well, do I peek left or do I peek right? Whereas he's in an open area where he can just dodge like this. Arguably, it kind of makes it a bit easier for me, maybe statistically. But because I, like, in some sense, I'm the one who's in control of the fight because he's in an open area, whereas I can take as long as I want to choose when I want to jump out here. And because of that, it then allows me to like potentially hit him before he hits me, which is exactly what happens. A little bit about the ping. It's a little bit about ping there, because to be fair, when I have like 80 milliseconds, I can jump and I'll have like peeker's advantage. So that situation actually does favor me there. But that's also, within the scope of understanding how all these hits, um, they're actually related to each other in terms of like how the fight is kind of sequenced. Okay, hitting this rail shuts him out of the map. Now this is again, Rapha quite a nice play by him because he understands this moment in the game is very important. I've denied the top armor. And if I get this heavy, and then there's nothing else on the map, and he's on the lower part, I'm gonna get the mega. He's in a pretty fucking shit spot. So he basically takes a relative risk and says, okay, I'm going to try and like just cut my losses. If I can do something really crazy here, I'm gonna be able to switch momentum quite quickly and potentially get momentum back, which he does. He actually hits like 4 in a row. But now this is where it gets weird. This is the same mistake the same mistake I made is the exact same mistake that, in some sense, is a mistake by him that he makes, which is he does go for this, he doesn't hit the rail, but instead of just going for the heavy, he's trying to maximize his output. He tries to go for a spawn rail, doesn't quite work out, and because he's done that, and now again, it's about softening your opponent up, and he's low enough where I can just keep pressuring that if I just, doesn't matter how good my aim is here, he's fucking 75 HP, how much damage do you need to hit? Doesn't need to be that much. Fight is a bit awkward, and wins me the heavy. Now we're in a really good position again. Okay, he does have the mega. All I want to do is get to the other side of the map safely so I can like definitively get myself an item. Yo, STK, thank you, mate. Again, rocket through the floorboards. Again, now what's really nice here is that I'm always trading when he's hitting me, so it's really like shutting him out of the map. Because if we're always trading like this, then of course the player who's in control is generally going to win because I've just got more stack. Okay, now we're starting to think differently about the game. 2 minutes left. I've got a 4 frag lead, and if I can just keep maintaining the damage I need to and always get a major item, it's going to be pretty fucking hard for him to win here. Yet another rail again. Now notice he's starting to open up the game a little bit more by trying to just hit crazier damage. He does win that position. Now I understand that he's trying to be a bit more predictable, so I'm starting to spam where he's coming from. He hasn't really got much time, so if he wants to do something, he needs to do it quite soon as I'm on these major items. And then again, just following through. And actually, somehow Turret actually managed to kill him there, unbelievably. They generally have the stack there, so this is too much to kind of get through. Um, I think all in all, it was good, but ultimately it's about key moments that just didn't go Rapha's way, and there's not too much you can kind of do. And that's kind of a bit of like what Quake is, because Quake is essentially just like effective effective gambling, really. It's about like optimizing risk and opportunities, and sometimes, how can I say, you can reduce risk by having good mechanics and making good decisions. But how can I say, even in certain moments, like on the first map, where realizing, fuck, I need to all in, or I need to snatch momentum in this very moment to even have a chance to optimize my percentages later on in the game. Small things like that is like how you build consistency. Um, and ultimately, that's actually what makes really a Rafa a great player too, because beyond beyond rotation and hitting, he understands my opponent needs to come back here. If I hit the damage at this moment and steal this item, completely fucks their control. And it's like understanding where moments of key damage is important. With Ian McKellen. No worries, Spiral. And I hope you guys enjoyed that. Like I said, it's a bit hard for me because I want to share a lot, but then I also don't want to say too much. But generally, like I think on some decisions, it's you know how can I say? It's about oh fuck it, it's sharing it with you guys. I didn't quite catch this match actually. Oh yeah, also this one. Oh, just look at the last map. Oh, I can check this out later anyway. The one frag DM6. I forget who it's win. I know who wins the set, but I don't remember who wins what map. Cheers, Monkey. That's what I was afraid of. Serious, that's what I was afraid of. Well, unironically, Baldora, that actually may be like the biggest 200 IQ, the biggest 200 IQ play. When like someone can't even copy, even if you fucking told them they can't copy it. That's how you know that that's actually good. 10D.
for the entire
I think what's beautiful about Quake is that there is really like the limit. You know, the game is can sometimes be quite limitless because hmm, through the flexibility of the weapons, like because they're so loose and they're so uniquely used, there's so many interesting ways you can take the game. Then also being ready for each of those scenarios um, becomes quite interesting. I think it feels fresh because there's like a lot more. There's a lot more different faces. Maybe because at QuakeCon 2021. Wait a second. Between 20, oh goodness, 2021 and 2022, when it was very similar with the players, when they went from 20 players to 16, and then it just felt very much the same. Then we got the refresh, which is now, and now we're starting to see like quite an interesting adjustment. Don't play dumb serious. I know you're 200 IQ. You fucking just get more kills than deaths, dude. Obviously. I mean, technically, MP. That's a positive outcome there. So if you can even take a zero point zero 0.01, that's a dub in my books. You know what's really fucking wild is like I think on my dual record, I still have fucking more losses than wins. Isn't that just fucking crazy? But I am rapidly approaching. Well, Ian, I think I actually passed 15,000 duels the other day. I would say it's worth me playing Quake Champions that much, but good God, did I not do it in an optimal fashion. But live and we learn, huh? I can't even imagine playing 15,000 duels, let alone it takes that fucking long to load the map and doing that many times. But I think this is my sixth year playing Quake Champions. So we that's dope. Don't tell me, but I feel like you end up winning this map. I thought. What are Cameron and Fraser up to? I think they're still. Well, last I remember, even after Koachicon, they were still playing the game. So, but I'm not sure. I think actually, I remember they were saying they got a job again, and they're kind of back at doing that. When the fuck did Rob Corv get in the QPL? Oh, okay. But this is also that matchup too, where sometimes you can just get dumped 7-0, and now look at it. He got like 3 frags in however long. Soon to be four. Yeah. Pink LG meta. Well, I think my beard gave me good luck against Rapha. I'd like to think so. Actually, are we pitting my beard against Rapha's beard? Because I'm not sure how I feel about Rapha's beard. Personally, I actually quite like it. It feels very like it actually feels biblical to me. But I don't know. I feel like I look more like a Norse god. And what does Rapha look like? I think STK. Am I casting this weekend? Marco, are we still doing it or am I being sidecasted? Am I on the B stream? Mad Brew, I like that. The Elder Priest. Actually, I do get samurai vibes. I do get that. Mustache to cheek beard growth. So basically, you grow an epic mustache. Marco, are we still casting this weekend, or is someone else going to do it? I don't mind. I mean, I'd like to, but did I see a name look serious? We're only